Oh, what it do, everybody? Welcome to episode one, season two of the LA Report with your co-host, Eris Morrison, Lenjo Kilo.
Yes, sir. We are here, y'all. Like we said, we are finally doing video episodes. Check us out on YouTube. We got 9 episodes of season one on YouTube via audio, and we're going to start putting stuff up here as well. So definitely thank y'all for kicking it with us. We got a lot in store for y'all this season. So, you know,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I realized we are recording this on February the 14th. Actually, that's a lie. It is February the 15th, the day after Valentine's Day. But we have to say, because it's our first episode of the new year, Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year. It's
Happy New
too,
Year, man.
hey, man, it's
Happy New
never
Year.
too late to say Happy New Year, especially if we haven't seen you guys since 2020. We haven't seen you guys since Trump was in office. So it's only right that we say Happy New Year and we start this thing off right.
For sure. Definitely, man. Definitely. That's how it is. If you ever seen someone, the first time you see them, you gotta say Happy New Year, man. You know,
That's
it's only right that we give y'all a Happy New Year rundown, man. But
absolutely.
let's hop right into the episode, bro. Let's get to it.
Absolutely. So first off, we want to start off by telling you guys because again, we have had some small delays in getting getting our content out to you guys. We want to let you know that this will not happen again, and we will be just rolling out episode after episode to keep you guys engaged and entertained, and hopefully where you guys will come on and let us know if you would like to join the show and we can try to work something out. Just want to go through really briefly, a rundown of our 2021 plans. Pretty much as you guys can see, as Lenjo stated the first time, this is our very first video season. We're going to kind of set the seasons up according to specific series, like have mini series. And then that way we'll have different topics as each series to kind of keep you guys engaged and have a fluid motion of content for you guys to enjoy. So be on the lookout. We're going to have some very special guests. We're working on several, some of which we have personal ties to that we have been able to see individuals grow and blossom into doing some very, very dope work. And you guys can really expect to see that coming forward in the next couple of months.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Stay tuned, y'all. We have a lot of stuff rolling out for y'all. You know, we want to do a lot of good content rolling into our second annual Juneteenth Freedom Walk, which is coming up in June, of
Yeah.
course. So stay on the lookout. We're going to definitely do our best to keep everyone engaged and gain more followers, gain more attention, so that when it comes time for that Freedom Walk, we can really make some national noise. So definitely stay tuned for that.
Yeah, stay tuned to everything. We're going to be revamping and just really putting a premium focus on our social media page, on our Instagram, putting out more content for you guys to digest. I know we keep talking about that word content. That's just because we want to make sure that we're doing our part to keep our audience and grow our audience. So if you guys have anything that you feel as though you would like to share with us in ways that we can help improve, we take all of that to heart because we had such a successful season one, that we want to make sure that we build upon each season moving forward. And so just kind of going from there, man. Like kind of, I know a lot of people see us on this platform. This is their first time seeing our faces. A lot of people have heard our voices for the last year. Just kind of tell the folks, man, like some of your personal goals and objectives for this year, man.
Yeah, yeah. So really for the main goal for 2021, number one is to stay healthy, like
Yes.
improve my physical health, staying fit, getting more fit, just keeping a standard of fitness throughout the entire year. That's number one. Number two, graduation. Some of y'all that may
Sure.
know, I'm in my last semester of grad school right now at UT Arlington, getting my degree in healthcare administration. So I have probably a little over 8 weeks left in my program. So make sure I finish out strong, graduate, and secure a job. That's really outside of those three goals right now. Of course, the podcast is always a goal. That's probably the fourth goal. But besides that, I like to keep stuff very simple and concise. So those four goals is really where my mindset is at for 2021. Um, Outside of that, maybe of course finances as well. Trying to get more involved in like investing, more involved in like future planning and stuff like that. But everything else is just going to keep under wraps and just got to do it so y'all can see the results of it.
Yes, sir. I think we got to give you a major shout out again, though, man. I'm proud of you. You know what I'm saying? This is your final couple of months in your master's program. And hey, man, like, I know you've had a lot of different aspirations and you continuing to build upon those. But I want to say, from all of us out there, you know what I'm saying, especially from your brother here, that I'm proud of you, dog. And, can't wait to see what's more in store for you. You know what I'm saying? That's major.
For sure. I appreciate that, bro.
Absolutely, man. Scholarship all day.
Big facts.
And,
Big,
and for myself, man, goals and objectives for this year, man. Like as you said, the obvious. Obviously we still haven't gotten past COVID right now, so my goals and objectives are clear. I want to be able to definitely stay healthy, continue my fitness journey. For some of the followers out there who do follow me, you see me time to time post on my stories or different fitness things. I love the fitness journey. I love the feeling that I have, this lifestyle of working out. So I definitely want to continue that and encourage anyone out there to do the same. You know what I'm saying? Working out is more than just, keeping my physical health, excuse me. It definitely helps my mental health get through a lot of things. So I want to continue that. I also want to just, for me, I'm not in my master's program as of yet. Unfortunately, due to my university, I work at American University, for those of you who do not know. And so, because I have to have a little bit more time in the university, I won't be able to, unfortunately, start my MBA program with a focus in taxation until the following fall. So I'm looking at 2022, unfortunately. However, at the end of the day, God is still good. Still got a job. Still stacking bread. That's going to be the next main thing. Stacking my bread. I'm looking for investment opportunities. Looking for investment opportunities as well. So this year is really just a year of focus, making sure that I'm able to, obviously retain more money than I put out. And so, and making the money that I retain, making that money flip. And so, you gotta stay focused and disciplined. And so that's the goal for 2021. And of course, making sure that I, alongside with Linjo, continue to bring you guys solid content for you guys to enjoy and digest and let that sizzle in your spirit.
Thing, sizzle, man, for real. That's definitely what's up, bro. You know. So what else you got on tab? That's on tab for the first episode. What we got?
Well, yesterday was Valentine's Day. Your boy over here had a pretty lonely Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day actually in the DMV area was pretty wild. Like
Yeah.
weather-wise, first of all, weather-wise, let's talk about the weather here. Bro, it was like they said it was gonna be icy. So I'm thinking, okay, it's gonna be icy. So I'm like, okay, it must means it's gonna snow first. The snow is gonna come down and turn into, ice overnight, freeze, and that would be the issue. No, it was just like freezing rain, like legit ice, like legit. Like I was walking into my part-time sliding. Like I was legit sliding. It was treacherous out here. It was really treacherous out here. Like, I live on a hill, so I couldn't even drive up the hill to get to, like, it was just a lot. Like DC had a lot going on um in terms of Valentine's Day. But that's still not to negate the fact of what I said originally. Your boy had a very quiet Valentine's Day. Worked and really just had some time to reflect. But during this time to reflect, it was like, seeing all the people, all the lovely couples out there, brother. Like, it was just had me thinking, like, what would be some advice we would give to folks? And it's actually pretty funny, right? Two single guys giving advice to the couples out there, right? We ain't talking to the couples. Let's just be clear. We're not talking about the couples. The couples, y'all got everything lined up. We're gonna stick to talking to single folks like ourselves and just kind of giving you our perspective. But like, what advice would you give to these folks out here, man? Like the single brothers like ourselves, who didn't have a Valentine this year, who either want a Valentine coming up for next year or just want to put themselves in a better situation to attract a quality young woman.
Yeah, man. The biggest thing I've learned throughout my dating life The biggest lesson I've learned, the biggest takeaway I can say I confirmed is taking the time to establish a solid friendship foundation with someone. Really taking the time out and accepting the fact that every person that you give your time to may not be the one for you, and that's okay. I think oftentimes we get so caught up in trying to make this shit work because we fear failure or fear rejection that we end up staying in or getting ourselves into bad situations. I mean, really, we don't really like that person that much. It's okay. Like we have to live and learn and use what we learn to apply to the next time. So the biggest thing is establishing a solid foundation with someone. And then number two, just speaking on some on some real man shit, don't date unless you can afford it. And affording is mainly is mainly financial because no matter what a woman says, man, what women say, when it comes to dating for men, you're going to have to spend money. Even
Mhm.
if you're doing elaborate, you're going to have to spend money some kind of way, whether it's the gas, the food, whatever the case, you're going to have to spend money to offer an experience with that woman. So your best bet is to make sure that you are in a financial space that you can allot time and money towards getting to know someone in the most rich fashion, not rich fashion, but in the best way you can. Because what happens sometimes is, let's say you have $1,000, right? 500 of that thousand goes towards dating or towards a woman, right? Now you
Mhm.
got $500 for the rest of your life expenses, bills, food, water, etc. If that woman is not turned to the person that you want her to be, you're going to build up resentment towards her, and that's just going to fail. And that's not fair to her, and that's not fair to you. So before you go ahead and dish in all this fucking cash that you don't really have, make sure you are financially sound. That way you can take on some of the punches and be able to take more risk when it comes to dating. Because a lot of times dating someone or being with someone is be willing to take a risk. You know what I'm saying? So those are my two biggest things for young men out there.
No, I gotta agree with you 1,000% there. I definitely was going to say those two. I'll probably give you one more. I think that, okay, actually two more. I think that, for me, I think it's important, especially for us as young men, young black men, man, it's important to have a level of self-awareness, to kind of really know yourself, really know yourself, know what value you bring to the table in any relationship that you enter upon, and whether it is just as a basic level of friendship, but understanding your value, your self-worth, and understanding kind of just who you are as a person to be able to say, hey, this is who I am, and these are the flaws and the faults that I have, but also be challenging yourself enough to work on those flaws and those faults. You know what I'm saying? And then coming to that table with that mindset, you can then hopefully evaluate the woman that you're interested in pursuing from that same standpoint as well, and hopefully encourage her to, share her faults and her flaws, so you guys can, build that foundation of friendship. And I think the second thing I probably would say is, man, just communication. I think that a lot of times, man, we talk about communication, we know how important that it is, but I do think one of the parts of communication that is lost is the ability to listen. Communication isn't always just you speaking, it's you being able to receive. And I think that, that is probably something that's very much lost, and like just getting to standards and getting to points in a relationship where it can thrive and it could be a successful one, because a lot of times we're literally just talking to each other without hearing each other, and therefore shit just doesn't build, and doesn't we have these expectations, and they just never get met. So I definitely want to say, I definitely agree. Friendship, man, like every relationship has to be based upon the level of friendship, or the foundation of friendship that you and a young lady cultivate. And man, don't get me started. Like I said, you touched on it. Being able to afford dating is a real thing. I speak from personal experience. It's like, and by affording it, right, like you can afford to date and go out on dates, which is great, and it's a lovely thing. But affording it means, putting yourself in situations to where you don't feel, like you said, you don't build a level of resentment having spent money going and doing things with someone because you just never know what the outcome is going to be. And so you got to have your head on right, and you kind of, and that's why that goes back for me again, knowing yourself, being honest with yourself, self-awareness, man. Like you got to be self-aware going into anything. I think a lot of times, man, like especially as black men, we're not really that self-aware about shit. You know what I'm saying? There's a self-awareness level that we just really, there's a lot of people, and I tell people this as well. When I tell people there's a lot of black folks out there like Donald Trump, people look at me and they're like, what the hell? Like, what are you talking about? And what I simply mean by that, there's a lot of black men, black folks out here, unfortunately, who live in alternate realities, right? Like they live in realities that do not exist. In other words, you tell yourself one thing, it's like you lie to yourself so much that you start to believe it, even though your reality from what everybody, from what you see, is completely different. So you got to keep it 100 with yourself. It's nothing worse than looking in the mirror and know you lying to yourself.
That's a fact, bro. That's a fact, bro.
I know.
You know how like we always say like, oh, niggas will sell dreams to women, bro. Niggas sell their dreams to themselves, dog. Like as well, like like men will make up shit in our head, and they get upset when it don't work out. Like we'll start thinking a chick is our girl in our mind. We didn't even have the combo with her yet, but then the moment she decided to do something that don't align with the image you had or the thought you had in your mind, then you will end up being upset. But really, it was like you made up that shit in your mind without having any substantial evidence that that's what y'all were doing.
And that's the crazy
You know what
thing,
I'm saying? Like that happens
man.
all the
Yeah,
time.
yes.
All the
And you mentioned it, man. Like just even just I can attest. You got to be able to speak your truth and live your truth. You know what I'm saying? Again, like that part of building a foundation of relationship is just A1 critical. And what you'll find, I'm sure, is that you'll find yourself in a lot of situations where, yeah, things, because you were honest in the beginning, they may not get a chance to bloom and blossom with a person that you want them to bloom and blossom for, because that person might be like, hey, you kept it real. I actually saw one of my friends tonight, and we had a convo, and she's going through some things, but we was like, wouldn't it, how crazy is it, right? When you meet a person for the first time, they just come out and say, hey, this is what my situation is. Like they just lay it all in front of you. And I said, that's never going to happen, because in most cases, as men, we have too large of an ego to be that vulnerable with a person we don't even know, much less, I mean, niggas, like you just said, we'll lie to ourselves. I mean, we'll lie to ourselves about some shit. So how do you expect me to sit across the table and I'm looking at you, you this fine ass woman, and I'm this is beautiful woman. I'm like, I'm like, yo, this is what my situation is, knowing, depending on what your situation is, that might be what turns you off, and I don't get what I necessarily want out of the situation. It's never going to happen. And I was just, but in an ideal world, that's what should happen. Is you should be able to be like, hey, look, this is my, and I told her as well, the crazy part is, in this, for our ladies, that we'll be having, just as an aside, we'll be having clubhouses, because we finally got approved for our own clubhouse.
oh yeah.
Thanks to Linjo. He's been on the full court press.
Thank you. Pressing the clubhouse, bro. God. Pressing the folks since November to get this fucking room together, but we finally got that shit approved, man.
Finally got a room approved. And so, just as an aside, we'll be having conversations outside of the podcast, just so you guys can tap in and speak your mind, because I don't want to come across as like, we don't want to come across as like obviously dismissive, or like saying, thinking that we have all the answers. We value conversation. That's what our platform is for. But no, I just was thinking like, the moment a guy becomes vulnerable with a chick and tells them, hey, this is my situation, for better or for worse, the thought process, at least from a man's standpoint, I'm not, or how I would view it from a man's standpoint, because I can't speak for all men, is that I feel like a woman would then say, well, this is where this person is at. This is where you're at, and that's it. They won't look at your potential to say, okay, this is where you're at, but this was where you have the potential to be. They'll say, well, this is where you're at, and that's just what it is. And therefore, again, it just doesn't put the guy in a situation where he wants to be vulnerable, even though I agree with her, like it's a valuable point.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, in an ideal world, it's like how much information do you give up, like up front? Like, me, for me, I'm not the one to to like just go ahead and say stuff like without it being prompted to me. I understand there's a level of there's the level of tactfulness and I don't want to say mystery, but like discreet a level of tactfulness and discretion you have to use when you approach people, right? Like I can be very transparent and tell you exactly what it is without telling you any information at all. I think getting to that point, because sometimes that shit is true. Like you may be dating or dating someone and y'all might be on the fridge, y'all about to end. You meet someone, right? If you tell you may feel like I don't want to tell them what I'm going through because I don't want this shit to fuck up. So it's kind of like you kind of gotta weigh what it is. You know what I'm saying? You full out doing your thing. It's better that you tell someone what it is so that they can have all the information that they need to make a choice. But I understand the reality is that a lot of folks don't want to do that because they don't want to shoot themselves in the foot with having an opportunity with someone. So whether that's right or wrong, I mean that depends on the person. For me, I kind of tread that line like sometimes, like, I would definitely tell you what it is up front, but I'm not going to tell you everything because I'm not that kind of dude. It's to tell random ass motherfuckers that I don't know, hey, it's what it is, what I'm doing. Like, nah, that to me is a little too weird. No, that's not saying weird. It's just not my style at all. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's men in general though. You know what I'm saying? Like I think, like I said, it takes a lot for us to be vulnerable. I think, we're taught at a young age, and that's not even always taught. Sometimes it's just implied through a lot of actions and a lot of different circumstances, just not to be, vulnerable. And it is okay to be vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? It's completely okay to be vulnerable. It's just that, to your point, at what point do you express that vulnerability with someone who you may or may not, to your point, ever have a a life with, or any real time with, you know what I'm saying? And it becomes such a valuable conversation to have. Like I welcome people expressing, like, their thoughts about it, because like I said, in an ideal world, I think that's real as hell. Like, I mean, hell, but that's the thing though. Again, I say, like, as a guy, you bring that to the table, and I feel like you're going to get judged. Like, unless you say like you got it all figured out, you know what I'm saying? Which, and I get it, nobody really does, but like, let's be honest, like, that's what most people want to hear. Most people want to hear, and that's why we love social media, because again, social media accentuates everyone's wins. It shows no losses. Everybody's winning on social media. Everybody got the bag, everybody got the chick, everybody life is peachy, you know what I'm saying? And I posted something on my story today it's the realest shit I've heard in 2021. Nigga said the real flex is living your life that you portray on Instagram after you log off. That's the real flex.
I,
That is the real flex. Like, that's just facts.
that is facts, bro. Like that's so real, son. Oh my god, it's so real because there's a lot of people, these people that I follow. It's kind of funny. Like I had the convo the other day. Like I gotta like purge my page and like do like a revamp of my Instagram. But anyways, like I have a lot of followers or people that I follow
Yeah, yeah,
that portray a lifestyle or portray an ideal within their story and their actual like post, but
yeah,
then in reality, it's nothing like that. Like I'll give a slight example. Like you probably have it too, where like you follow women and they'll bash niggas in their story with memes, this, that, third thing. But then they turn around and be completely different in your phone, be completely different in person. It's like, whoa, it's like you hate niggas, but you blowing me up. Okay, I got
man. You can't be exposing people. This is not the platform. We don't expose people. We don't expose that type of thing. This type of truth, man. We got to keep it PG for our audience, man. We don't be.
I'm speaking from previous experiences, but not right now. before, before I really witnessed that shit. I'm like, yo, like, I'm like, what? It's just funny to see that shit. I'm like, I know you. Like, what are you doing this for? Like, what's the goal? You know? But hey, that social media, like you said, anyone can do whatever they want to do. They can live whatever life they want to live. But just know, niggas know the truth.
We definitely do, and that's the thing, man. It all comes back to like just basic points of like understanding and being comfortable with yourself, man. Like, we talk about, let's wrap this topic up at the very least and just say, like, there's a lot of advice we can give and sit here and really just delve into convos all day about what advice we would potentially give to young single men, like I said, who out there looking for their next Valentine in 2022. But at the end of the day, man, I would just say this during this time of the pandemic, still being, things are getting better. Let's not like, lose sight. Things have gotten a lot better since, really since the turn of this year. The new administration getting vaccines into arms, really feeling confident about that. Let's be honest and say things have gotten a lot better. But like, you know, there's something that everybody out there should be very aware of. And, there's a difference. It's okay to be alone. Understanding the difference between loneliness and being alone is critical. Loneliness is a feeling that you have because you're absent of like of something else. Being alone is a choice. Being alone to me is like a state. It's a state of mind. You could be alone and be in a space where you're able to expand your thoughts, really have a chance to really sit down and observe what it is you feel and what you're feeling. To me, loneliness says you're something is missing, so you have this yearning for wanting to do something more, feeling like you like there's something missing from you. And I just think that understanding the difference between the two will go a long way with you. And that's not just for my brothers, for the women out there that's listening to this podcast. For I see a lot of things women talking about, like, who may have not had a Valentine this year as well. So, like it's a lot of different ways to look at it. So yeah, man. I want to talk about real quick as we transition. I want to talk about this story. So I saw on a social media page, um, they were referencing how they were asking young women. Actually, I think it was called Black Girl Things. They were referencing young women who were feeling some type of way about why they were upset about Valentine's Day, and they had this long drawn out story that I was reading. It was just so asinine. Like I want to go through it a little bit just to kind of. It was like, bro, it was really asinine because um it highlighted just some of the wild stuff that you know I'm gonna say as people. I might, because it was about a woman, but I don't want to like narrow minded, but just understanding like what you're going through. And basically what it started out talking about was this woman who basically entered into she met a guy on Tinder. Apparently the guy was married in an open relationship, right? They were like swingers, and she decided to go out with this guy. She ends up falling for this guy, knowing that he's married, open marriage, swinging relationship. She's upset because on Valentine's Day the guy is spending time with his wife and not her. And, and
Pack that shit up. Pack that shit up. Get the fuck out of
And listen, I feel you. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. As you read it, as I read this, as I sat and I read this, I
here.
became, I actually became low key infuriated that I sat through and read this because I was like,
I'm
I
like,
had to keep reading, but each time that I stopped, I was just like, well, this. I'm like, this is stupid. And I do think it's important to just say, man, like, hey, sometimes you can put yourself in bad situations. and you got to recognize when you're in those situations, and just leave things alone. Leave it
Was,
alone.
was that her story?
Yeah, that was in their story. That was in the story. That was it. It was the black girl things. I think that page.
I'm looking right now. All I see is them posting a lot of women.
It's like towards the end. I think it's like you gotta get past it, but it's a lot. I mean, it's gonna take you some time. You can't even like. That's why I decided not to even read it because it's like just so much. But as you'll see, it says like story time or something along those
Story
lines.
time.
Yeah, it's like it's a lot, but
Yeah.
it's very interesting. And so I would just say, man, like it's very important to as people, make sure that we don't put ourselves in situations where you know common sense is absent. You know what I'm saying?
What the fuck? My
Yeah,
bad, bro. I'm reading shit right now,
it's
dog.
it's a lot to read, my guy. I wouldn't waste too much. It's something you could definitely check out. I would say read offline just because it's a lot. When you read it, it'll just it's like it's just kind of it's so simplistic. It's so simplistic. Excuse me. But yet so vastly just like what in the world are we talking about? Um, but yeah, man, I just think that there's a lot that we can do to make sure we improve our chances at finding and building successful relationships.
Nah, facts, bro. I mean, I really think we make it more complicated than what it really is, bro. To be honest, like, especially in the black community, bro. It's like everyone is so gun ho stuck on getting that title. I'm a boyfriend. I'm a girlfriend. I'm a wife. I'm a husband. I'm like, bro. Like, then what happens next? Can we focus on creating or changing the narrative that fuck just getting the title, get a solid operation. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
it's
that's what it is. It's so many people out here who are so stuck on becoming a boyfriend, becoming a girlfriend, or becoming a husband or a wife, and then they finally get those things and they have no fucking clue what to do once they get it. Then what happens?
yeah. I mean, I
Well, why
mean,
don't we just what you know what? I blame Disney Channel. I blame Disney, and I
mm,
blame Cosmopolitan magazine for selling dreams, for setting the narrative to so many youth. Think about every Disney movie you've seen when it comes to a man and woman relationship. They do all this stuff in the beginning, ah, da, da, da. They finally get together, boom, the movie cuts off.
yeah.
And
I mean, yeah,
and that's played into the minds of so many kids. So they in turn project that into their actual lives, and that shit don't work. You can't take fairy tale put it into real life. You feel what I'm saying?
and I think there's just a lot of stuff, specifically with us in the black community, man. Like we can only speak from our culture. Like, like I said, we had this conversation where we talked about, a lot of stuff in season one. But there's just a reality of as black men growing up, we really don't, a lot of us don't have positive examples of black love. We never saw it, we never knew exactly what it is. And so we really are going off of instincts as to what that looks like and to what we've seen in a couple of movies and this, that, and the third. And so, when you really break it down, as far as, some of the black women that we see, they do have a fairy tale kind of instilled in their mind as far as what a Prince Charming is, and as Prince Charming varies from woman to woman as well. Let's be clear, they don't all have a universal Prince Charming, but they do have one that think that they sometimes seek and think that this guy is just going to come, he's going to be this great guy in different respects. And I think that you know, there's a lot of broken people out here. A lot of broken people and a lot of people with a lot of faults. And that goes again, we keep running back themes, but that just goes back to understanding people understanding themselves and people really being able to be okay with saying like, man, listen, I don't have my life together in regards to I'm learning how to like so many people want the finished product of people. They don't want to go through those wars with people. And I'm not saying everything got to be a battle. When I use the word war, I'm just simply saying going through a fire or going through a hellhole with somebody. I mean, we as people and us being in the frat, we know what it's like to have to go through some shit and make it out on the other side. You know what I'm saying? And like like we understand like what that looks like. And I think a lot of times, in relationships, like for me personally, I'll speak to myself and say like the next person that I'm with, I want a person to build with. You know what I'm saying? I mean that like legitimately. I want to build with a person. I don't want a person to come and see me when I'm up. It's kind of like where I think a lot of like athletes and entertainers, guys who make it with a lot of money, they be like, damn, like I done made it. Now I don't know why this person is around me. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what this person's after. Like it's different when a person when you see a person for who they are when you ain't have nothing and you built it up and now it's like, oh, I know you riding for me. So I don't have any questions about nothing. Like I know you we this is real. And I think that that kind of gets lost in a lot of these processes as far as um, you know, the standard of like what men are to provide to women, I guess you could say. I actually kind of lost my train of thought in between all of that, to be honest with you. Uh, but I would just say, like, like for the women out there, man, who have the fairy tale, I say keep the fairy tale alive, man. Like I ain't got no beef with y'all for having the fairy tale. I think that all of y'all out there have a Prince Charming somewhere in some shape or form. I think that what we're about to talk about next is probably of a lot of value to you guys because for those of you who did not see today, um, B Simone came out and basically it's so funny. So for those of you, so basically B Simone came out and said, hey, she said, women, you guys have a list of standard, things that you want in a guy, tall, dark, handsome, good hair, good teeth, job, rich, whatever these qualities that you want in a guy. And her premise was simply that, for women, if you guys don't have those synonymous traits in yourself, then you can't really be out here seeking men who have those qualities that you seek, but you don't have the synonymous qualities as well. And so I want to get your thoughts on that, bro. Like, what do you think about that and your thoughts?
Man, I agree, Doc. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with what Beast Mode. I saw what you said it to me. I think she was speaking facts. I think, you know, you got to follow the KISS principle. You know, keep it simple, stupid. I don't mean to cause no feathers, but I'm gonna be real shit. I'm gonna be talking real shit here. Keep that shit simple, man. If this is the person that you desire, right? Like you said, what kind of person? Okay, I'm sorry. The person that I want, what kind of person do they want, right? And do I exhibit those qualities? And if I don't, how can I build my character up to exude those qualities so that I can be the choice of the person that I want? You feel what I'm saying? It's really that fucking simple. I think what happens a lot of time is people get sensitive when we say you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, and you try to put them in this proverbial box, and they get really upset about that and try to bust the box open without really hearing the truth first. What B Simone said was 100% facts. I just think people just get overly sensitive sometimes about what they can and can't have. You feel what I'm saying? But everything she said was the truth. It was like I have no issues with what you say. Same thing with men. If you want a certain kind of woman, you want a woman that's gonna ride for you, do this for you, have her own shit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You gotta come with those similar qualities to the table so y'all can match. Because I'm a big believer in opposites do not attract. Like
Ah, we,
like
we we attract, but we attract. Opposites attract. We just don't stay together for sure.
okay, right. So for me, I cannot be with someone that's opposite of me. I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Like seeking long term for the rest of my life. I want to be with someone that is like minded with me, like temperament as me. We share the same beliefs. Of course, we're going to differ on different things, but for the most part, we are literally moving in the same wavelength, same direction. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of people want to be on one wavelength and be on a different level with someone else and try to make that shit work, and it don't fucking work. We've seen too many examples of that shit not fucking working, in my opinion. So what B Simone said was straight facts, man. I think people have to take their feelings and emotions out of it, turn their fucking tone meters down, and hear the message. You feel what I'm saying?
I agree with you. I think that, the funny part about what B Simone said is like, it really it echoes, that of another controversial guy in which we know, and Kevin Samuel.
It's the Kevin Samuels.
It really echoes what he talks about. And I I will say this about Kevin Samuels. While I agree with a lot of points that he makes in regarding the topics that he brings up, excuse me, I can see why he is problematic for women, why they have an issue with Kevin Samuels. I listened to a clip the other day where, while I agree with what he was saying, the way in which he was responding and responding to the woman, I can see where the problematic, like why he's problematic. But I try to think about it from a standpoint of saying, hey, I understand this is who this guy's entertaining. So basically, I understand how Kevin Samuels basically offends women because of his approach to what they're actually saying, to his approach to what he's actually saying. His delivery, which I feel is his entertainment value, is it's a bit it's a bit rough, for women to be able to hear. However, I do think I agree with a lot of what he says, and I think that in this case it's ironic because him and B Simone basically echoed one another. And I do think that, to her point, women have a tendency at times to want, and what I will say respectfully is it goes both ways, because as men we do the same thing. There's a lot of guys out here who want high value women, and they don't have any value, or they don't bring any of those characteristics that the woman's synonymous for to the table. I will definitely admit that for sure. But I do, so I won't even make it like a sex thing. I would just say, as people, it is very clear that we need to understand that we, in order to attract the people that we want, we definitely, again, it's so funny. The theme of the night is, it might as well just be self-awareness. Like, you really got to be in tune with what it is that who you are, what you bring to the table, what your and it's like you can always morph into to try to become what another person desires. However, I would say that be careful about that, though, because you know stay true to who you are. You know what I'm saying? Stay true to who you are. But it's there's a difference between staying true to who you are and knowing that you need to level up, and by you leveling up, you will be able to attract a higher value individual for yourself, which is, by all means, that's the path you should do. But I wouldn't change who I am to meet the standards of another person just because I'm interested in them. I think that's a bit much. I think that, again, if that's me leveling up because I know who I am and I just want, this is a part of me leveling up, then that's perfectly fine. So I think it's important as individuals, men and women, that we listen to what B Simone said. And I think that people out there that's showing so much outrage,
I don't get it.
it's emotional. And I hate to use that word, but it really is emotional because it's a very rational thought process. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I think that, and I hate to take it this way, I think that the women that I've seen, the reactions as far as them being upset about what she's saying, I think you really got to just honestly examine what those women are going through or what they're referring to. And I just think that a lot of times there, it's some emotional damage there. It's just, to me, it's just no way to really get around that, because I don't see why you would have a problem with the qualities that you desire in a man And I think maybe sometimes people look too deep into it. Maybe because I think on a surface level, I think if you broke it down the way we say, the qualities that you desire in a man, they should be synonymous within yourself, or you should be synonymous in trying to obtain those qualities. I think that makes perfect sense. I don't think you'll get any pushback. I think honestly, I think people are making a lot of inferences as far as that. I think people are saying like because he has money, I think they're taking it. If you ask me, I think they're literally taking it from like a, oh, so you need to have the bag if he has the bag. In which case, I still agree. I'm not saying that you know, don't need to have. I'm not saying that you know if one person has more money than the other, that should quantify or dictate the relationship. But I do think that's kind of the angle that people are going at, like from a, well, if he got money and you broke, you know you shouldn't be one the guy with money. And I think that's you know because that's typically the only thing that divides this type of conversation is money, really.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it's definitely emotional. Reactions are emotional, and they're not nuanced at all.
Yeah.
Not nuanced at all. Because when you, even if you just look at it like from a basis of money, right? Just going off of the this is speaking we're speaking strictly in general, right? People that are making a lot of money outside of the celebrities, athletes, whatever the case is, they live oftentimes a certain kind of lifestyle, especially in corporate America, right? So their lifestyle doesn't necessarily may not correlate with the lifestyle that this X person might be living, and that's where the disconnect comes in. That's why you often see a lot of people that are quote unquote high value or they're in the same kind of industries get together, or you see those relationships work better because they're in the same field. They have a different have an understanding of the lifestyle and how it goes. And that's why I said before, like the, the opposite shit don't really work. And I think people, instead of actually taking the time to listen to what Kevin Samuels is saying and listen to what Beast Mode is saying, removing their own bias and removing their emotions out of it and really seeing it and hearing it for what it is, a lot of them wouldn't feel the way that they do. But a lot of it is like trigger shit where they hear one thing, oh my God, now they super upset and now they can't hear shit else. You know what I'm saying? That's why like a lot of these things on the internet is like they're combos that need to happen, but they can't happen because too many people are too tied tightly to their traumas and their biases, and they can't have a constructive conversation about improving themselves. Because people hate looking in the mirror for real. People hate hearing the things that are uncomfortable to make them better. You know what I'm saying?
That's big facts, bro. That's big facts. So I think we can put a bow on this particular conversation, this topic, and really just say, man, like again with this episode, man, like I think it definitely centers around, you know, obviously this is our first episode of season 2 of our new video, our video platform, if you will. But I definitely want to just say, you know, as we enter into again we're a month or so late into the game, but like as we enter into 2021, I definitely want to say, you know, like this episode, if you haven't taken anything else away from it, man, like, you know, self-awareness is key. You know, whether we're talking about in just relationships, but just in general, man, like just really be okay with knowing yourself, taking this time to really figure out what it is that you want, what it is that you desire, and really put your focus in that. And you know, let the chips fall where they may. Because when you know yourself, you're always going to make better decisions because you're always going to go through situations with as clear a mind as possible. So, you know, whether you're dealing with relationships or not, focusing on that. But man, we really do appreciate you guys rocking out with us for this episode. Like I said, we were a little bit late to the game as far as pumping this one out, but no worries. The second episode, you have no doubt, no worries at all. We'll be, you know, shooting and recording and putting that out very soon, right after this one. So stay tuned for that. And also, you know, I think we want to, you know, give you guys an opportunity. If there's topics that you all want to hear us address, please let us know. You know, we definitely, I think we should probably incorporate like a fan or an audience appreciation type of post, depending on the topic, you know, obviously, where we discuss some of the things that you guys may want to hear us discuss. And as always, we'll be sure to be having our room or clubhouse following each of these episodes, so that we can have some dialogue with our great audience out there who's listening to us, because we really appreciate you guys.
Yes, indeed. And I totally agree with everything you said. So definitely tap in with us. Stay tuned for more content. And till next time, y'all. Peace.
Peace.